Hey guys, tonight we begin with something a little darker. Hospitals are places of healing, of quiet prayers and whispered reassurances. But late at night, when the halls are empty and the only sounds are the beeping of machines and the occasional shuffle of rubber soles, hospitals change. They become liminal, haunted not necessarily by ghosts but by memories, regrets, and things left unsaid. Tonight's story is about what happens when silence stretches too long, and when something or someone answers a call light that should have been ignored. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Congratulations, you've just begun your first night shift at St. Laura Memorial. It's a smaller hospital on the edge of town, barely staffed past midnight. The good news, you're not completely alone. The bad news, the old North Wing still has power, even though it was shut down 5 years ago. That's where the call light is coming from. I was never one of those people who feared hospitals. To me, they were places of order, logic, a system of symptoms and solutions. Sure, they smelled like bleach and old sweat, but they made sense. Until that night. Until the call light from room 397. My name's Clara, and this happened when I was still doing overnight shifts during my clinical rotations. St. Laura Memorial is a small regional hospital tucked between a forest preserve and a highway no one uses after dark. Built in the 1950s, it had been expanded and stitched together like some architectural Frankenstein. New wings glued onto old ones, floors that didn't line up quite right, elevators that skipped floors entirely. The North Wing, though, that place was just forgotten. It had been shut down 5 years ago after a mold infestation and electrical fire. No patients, no staff, no access unless you had clearance. Yet the call light from room 397, located in that exact wing, had started going off every night. At exactly 3:13 a.m. At first, the nurses thought it was a glitch in the old wiring. Facilities checked it, confirmed the wing had no power at all. The call light system wasn't even connected to the North Wing anymore. Yet the light kept blinking. Same room, same time. The night I decided to check it out, I was alone at the nurses' station. Rain slapped against the windows and the monitors were silent, flatlining not from emergency, but because the rooms were empty. Then the light blinked on again. Room 397. I hesitated. I really did. There's something primal that creeps up your spine when you realize you are about to do something deeply stupid, but also deeply inevitable. The kind of stupid that feels chosen for you, like the ending of a dream you can't wake up from. I grabbed a flashlight and made my way to the service stairwell. The elevator didn't even recognize the old wing's floor anymore. It was silent down there. The sort of silence that isn't just quiet, but feels like pressure on your skin. You know that feeling when you're sure someone is watching you from behind a one-way mirror? It was like that. I passed old signage, peeling paint, and wheelchairs left at odd angles like someone had pushed them quickly and fled. The hallway smelled like mildew and time. Then I saw the door to 397. It was closed, but the light above it, blinking. The handle was cold, not just room temperature metal, but cold, like it hadn't been touched by human hands in years. My fingers hesitated over it, hovering, listening for any sound inside. Nothing, not even the hum of fluorescent lights. I pushed the door. It opened with a soft groan, like an exhale from an old man who had been holding his breath for too long. Inside, room 397 was empty, mostly. There was a bed, rusted at the joints, with an exposed mattress that had turned a sickly grey. A metal tray table stood beside it, one wheel broken, tilted like it had tried to leave, and gave up halfway. But what froze me wasn't the decay. It was the call light. It was there, hanging just above the bed, connected to a panel that shouldn't have power. It blinked, slow, deliberate, steady, as if someone had just pressed the button. I stared at it, waiting for it to stop. It didn't. I don't know why I walked in. Maybe I was curious. Maybe I didn't want to look like a coward to no one in particular. Maybe the hospital had already started pulling me into its rhythm, like it wanted me to witness something. The moment I crossed the threshold, my ears popped, like descending in a plane, but wrong. And then I heard it, a whisper, not a voice, not speech, just air shifting, as if someone had just stood up in the corner of the room and sighed. I froze. The light kept blinking. I turned to leave. I should have just left. But instead, I reached for the call light cord and unplugged it. The moment I did, the blinking stopped. And the bed, it creaked. Not the building, not the pipes, the bed itself. The mattress dipped ever so slightly, like someone had just sat on the edge. I could see the indent. I swear to you, I could see it forming right in front of me. I backed up slowly, keeping my eyes on that dip. And then I saw the pillow sink. Not fast, not sudden. Just enough to suggest a weight pressing down, as if an invisible head had gently laid back to rest. I bolted. I didn't scream, I didn't run. I just turned and walked, fast and steady, all the way back to the stairwell. But the air in that hallway, it followed me, like it had shape, like something unseen was walking just a few feet behind me. Not chasing, just shadowing. When I finally burst back into the main wing, everything was normal. Monitors beeped, fluorescent lights hummed. A janitor nodded at me as he mopped near the vending machine, unaware that I had just walked out of somewhere no one was supposed to be. I didn't tell anyone what I saw, not yet. But the next night, at 3:13 a.m., the call light blinked again. I made a decision. I wasn't going to check the light again. Not because I was scared, at least that's what I told myself, but because I didn't want to feed it. Whatever was happening in room 397, it seemed to respond to attention. I thought ignoring it would be safer. That night I stayed at the nurse's station, headphones in, doing chart reviews. I kept my back to the hallway monitor, the one that flickered every time the call system lit up. Around 3:12 a.m. I found myself pausing the music, just in case. And there it was, blink, room 397, same timing, same slow pulse, as if it knew I was waiting for it. I didn't move, but something did. Down the hallway, past the automatic doors that were supposed to stay locked after midnight, I saw a shadow move, just a flicker, barely there, like the tail of someone's coat turning a corner, but no one else was scheduled in that area. I radioed security, no response. I stood up. My legs felt stiff, like I hadn't used them in hours. My whole body was resisting what my curiosity refused to let go of. Then a message popped up on the central console. Patient request, room 397, assistance needed. That shouldn't have been possible. There were no patients logged in the old system. Room 397 didn't even exist on the digital chart anymore. The software wasn't designed to accept requests from a decommissioned wing. And yet, there it was. Plain text. The screen flickered. And then I heard the voice.
Help me. It was barely above a breath, but clear. Female, young, close. I spun around, expecting someone behind me. Nothing. Empty hallway. No footsteps, no creaks, not even the buzz of faulty fluorescence. Then another sound, a phone ringing, but it wasn't coming from the desk. It was distant, muffled, like it was inside a closed room down the hall. A landline, the kind we hadn't used in years. No one else heard it. I started to feel like I was being gaslit by the building itself. Or worse, like I was slipping, losing track of time, of logic, of the fine line between protocol and paranoia. So I made a choice. I printed out the call log from that wing. I needed proof, something physical. When I brought it up on the ancient back end of the system, something made my blood run cold.
There were responses. Every night for the last 3 weeks, the call light from room 397 had gone off, and every single night there was a logged interaction under my name. Except I hadn't gone in. Not all of those nights. I only entered once. Yet the log said otherwise, time-stamped notes. Assistance provided, patient acknowledged, chart updated. What chart? What patient? I didn't know what to think anymore. Was someone messing with the system? Was this some elaborate prank? A glitch in a forgotten database? Or was something using my name? I didn't sleep that day. I got off my shift, drove home, locked my door, and just sat at my kitchen table staring at the printout from the system. Pages and pages of falsified entries, all under my login, time-stamped, signed, verified. It didn't make sense. That kind of logging requires a badge swipe, a physical presence. You can't fake it from a terminal. Either someone was stealing my ID, or something else entirely was pushing through the system using my name. By 7 p.m, I was already anxious about going back in. The night shift started at 11. At 10:52, I sat in my car, staring at the hospital's rear entrance. Every fibre of my body told me not to go in, but I did. That's what I do. I show up, even when something deep in my stomach tells me I shouldn't. The security guard, Theo, was doing his rounds. I flagged him down. "Hey, weird question," I said, keeping my tone casual. "You seen anyone go into the East Wing this week?" He paused. "You mean the shutdown one?" "Nah, why?" "Just, stuff's been showing up on the call logs. Probably nothing more than a bad relay." Theo looked at me for a long second. Then he nodded slowly, like he wanted to say more but didn't. "There's noises in that wing sometimes," he muttered. "I don't go near it if I can help it." I wanted to press, but he already walked off. That night I kept my phone camera ready. If anything happened, I'd record it. I just needed proof. I needed something to anchor myself to. 3:09 a.m. The air pressure in the main wing dipped. You can feel it when it happens. Your ears go tight, your breathing catches just a little. It's what happens when a big set of doors opens, or someone turns on a vent system that hasn't run in a while. 3:10, the call light blinked. I didn't wait. I walked straight to the east corridor, phone recording, flashlight on. When I reached the hallway, it was darker than it should have been. Half the lights were out, not flickering, just off, like something had killed the breaker on that side. As I passed room 391, I thought I saw something move behind the frosted glass, just a shadow. Then another in 392. Each time I looked, nothing was there, but I could feel it. Something brushing along the edge of perception, not malicious, not yet, just watching. Room 397 was open. I didn't leave it that way. Inside, the bed was made. Clean linens, crisp corners, a folded blanket at the foot. I froze. It hadn't looked like that last time. Someone had prepped this room recently, and the call light still blinking. This time, I didn't unplug it. I picked up the phone on the wall. It was cold, but functional. I dialed the central desk, just static. Then, through the receiver, I heard breathing, wet, close, heavy. "Hello?" I whispered. The breathing stopped. Then the voice returned. "You were supposed to come yesterday." I dropped the phone. Not slammed. Dropped. My hand had gone numb, like it no longer belonged to me. I just stared at it on the hook, still tilted sideways, as if the receiver itself hadn't finished whispering. "You were supposed to come yesterday." The words echoed in my head like a stain spreading through fabric. Calm, direct, not angry, not a threat, but expectant, like a missed appointment that shouldn't have been missed. I backed out of the room, one step at a time. The hallway behind me was silent, but it felt occupied. Every room I passed felt like it held a breath, not air, intention, presence. Like each empty room had begun to wait for something. When I made it back to the nurses' station, I found Theo waiting. "You look like hell," he said.
"I think someone's in the East Wing," I muttered. He stared at me for a long second, then nodded once. "Don't go back in there," he said. "I mean it, Clara." "How do you—" He cut me off. "We all get a warning. Some listen, some don't." It was the way he said it that chilled me, like it was a rule everyone already knew. An initiation. I didn't ask more. I couldn't.
At 4:02 a.m. the system rebooted on its own. A rare glitch, but it happens. Every terminal went dark for a second, then came back up. And when it did, something new appeared in the logs, a patient profile. Not one I recognized. No ID, no history, just a name. Clara M, admitted 03:12 a.m. My name, but I hadn't logged myself in. It even had a room number, room 397. I opened the profile in a panic. It wasn't just a placeholder. It had vitals, scanned notes, psych evals, progress entries. One entry caught my eye. Continues to exhibit confusion and delusional behavior. Believes she is staff. No, that's not possible. I printed it, shut down the monitor, and walked straight to the break room. I splashed water on my face. I even bit the inside of my cheek, just to feel something sharp, real. And I sat there for an hour, convincing myself that I was awake, that I was real, that I was still Clara the nurse, not Clara the patient. But a part of me, the part that kept glancing at the clock, knew better. I was exactly where something wanted me to be. And maybe I had always been.
I didn't tell anyone. Not the other nurses, not Theo, not even my supervisor.
What would I say?
"Hey, the system thinks I'm a patient and the room's in the abandoned."
Wing are calling me by name.
No one would believe me.
Hell, I barely believed it myself. So I stayed quiet.
But I started testing things.
I checked the time logs on the security cameras. From 3:10 to 3:27 a.m., the footage of the east hallway cut to static again.
Every night, same window.
I requested all blueprints of the hospital. Found that the east wing had once been psychiatric overflow.
Shut down after some kind of internal audit. No details.
Just vague language, unsanctioned patient retention and personnel violations. I found one incident report from 1996. A nurse went missing.
Name redacted. No follow-up.
Case closed administratively.
I checked my employee file next.
It was there, but something was off. The photo wasn't mine. It looked like me, but older. Same face, same scar above the eyebrow. But more tired, paler. Like it had been taken after months without sunlight. I blinked, refreshed the page. Gone. Back to normal.
I didn't sleep that day either. I just laid in bed, lights on, staring at my ceiling.
I kept hearing that call light in my head. Soft, insistent, always blinking just beyond the edge of vision. That night, I showed up for work like always. I made it through half my shift, keeping to the main ward, staying in brightly lit rooms. But then, at exactly 3:10 a.m., the power dipped again. This time, it wasn't just the east wing. The lights over my desk flickered. Every screen blinked out, and a soft humming started, like electricity passing through something wet. Then every call light on the board lit up.
All of them. Even rooms without patients.
Even rooms that didn't exist anymore. And then one by one, they blinked out, except for one. 397.
I stood up.
My feet moved before I could decide. Down the hallway.
Past the ICU.
Around the bend where the lights always dimmed. No matter how many times maintenance fixed them. When I reached room 397, the door was open again.
And someone was sitting in the bed, facing away.
I could hear breathing, calm, measured, like sleep, or pretending.
"Hello," I whispered.
The figure didn't move. I stepped inside. That's when I saw it. The figure had my face, but not my expression. She looked resigned.
Not scared.
Not confused. Just done. She turned her head slowly.
Our eyes met and she smiled. I didn't scream. I should have.
But the air in room 397 felt
Heavy, thick like syrup.
every sound got swallowed before it left your throat. The other Clara, the one in the bed, tilted her head like she was studying me. Her voice was soft.
Like mine, but slower. As if every word had to push through water. I thought you'd never come.
I tried to speak, but my tongue felt stuck, like I was forgetting how to form words. Why are you doing this?
I finally managed.
She blinked slowly. You already know. I shook my head, but something inside me twitched.
A flicker of agreement I didn't give permission for.
There's a reason you don't remember being hired, she said. There's a reason you're always on the night shift.
Why no one ever calls you by your last name. I opened my mouth to deny it, but I couldn't remember signing an offer letter.
Couldn't remember an interview.
Couldn't remember my last name.
She shifted her legs out of the bed, and I instinctively stepped back. But she didn't come toward me. She just stood, facing me like a mirror that wanted to step through the glass.
You were the last patient here, she whispered.
Before the wing closed, you came in screaming.
About voices. About mirrors.
My heart pounded. That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
I never.
But then she held out her hand, and in it, a name tag.
Mine.
But the title didn't say RN. It said Psych 4B Observation. Patient, not staff. She pressed it into my hand, and for a second I felt a warmth. Not comforting, branding.
Like I had just been marked.
Then the overhead lights flickered again. When they came back, she was gone. Just me, standing in room 397, clutching a name tag with no rank, no department, and a laminated photo of a face that I no longer recognized. Back at the nurse's station, the logs were clean.
No call lights.
No interruptions, and room 397 didn't exist. Not on the map.
Not in the software. Not even in the blueprints I downloaded yesterday.
Like it had never been there at all. But I still had the tag, and the weight of something very old pressing behind my eyes, whispering truths I wasn't ready to hear. The next night, I didn't clock in.
I didn't have to.
The system said I was already there. The time card showed in at 19:02, a full hour before I even left my apartment. I tried calling Theo, but his number went straight to a dead line. No voicemail, no ring.
I messaged a coworker. A weird question. Do you remember how long I've worked here?
They replied almost instantly. Who is this?
I stared at the screen.
They had my number saved. I was sure of it. I tried checking my phone gallery. Every photo from the past 2 months, gone.
Every contact.
Every saved password.
All wiped. Except one file.
A voice memo labeled 3:17 a.m.
Against every instinct I had, I played it. Static. Then,
A whisper, my voice. Don't believe the mirrors. They remember more than you. I dropped the phone. It didn't hit the floor. It just vanished. Fell through the air like it had been pulled sideways.
I was alone in my apartment, but the silence felt dense. Like I wasn't supposed to be here.
Like the room itself was holding its breath, waiting for me to leave.
And I did.
I drove to the hospital. But as I turned the last corner, something was wrong. There was no building.
No lights.
Just an empty lot. Fenced, weeds growing through cracked concrete. A faded sign on the gate read, Future site of Glenwood Community Centre, Estia 2008.
That couldn't be right.
I parked, climbed over the fence. My shoes crunched on broken glass and damp leaves. And then, without warning, I was inside. Fluorescent lights buzzing, footsteps echoing.
Nurses laughing somewhere down the hall. I was standing in the hospital again, like nothing had changed.
But it smelled different, old, like dust and blood and time.
I turned around.
The door I came through was gone. Just a blank wall.
No exit sign. No doorframe.
No way back. Something was waiting for me, and it wasn't done telling me the truth.
I kept walking.
Every hallway looked familiar. Every hallway looked wrong. The posters on the wall were faded. Dates read 1996, staff faces I'd never seen.
In uniforms I didn't recognize.
Then I found the nurses' station, just like always, but no one was there. Only a thick binder on the counter, pages yellowed and soft from time. The label read,
Night observations, Clara R. I flipped it open. Entry after entry, all typed. Patient lucid.
attempted breach of reality at 0311. Patient repeated phrase, room 397 isn't a room, it's a direction. Patient aware of observer. Reclassify as level red. They weren't my notes.
They were about me,
Page after page of someone watching me,
logging my behavior.
recording the moments I thought I was alone, and all signed by the same name. CR, observing entity, my initials.
But not mine.
I looked around, heart racing, skin crawling, and there, just at the edge of my vision, someone turned the corner.
I followed.
Shoes echoing across tile that looked wet but left no footprints. At the end of the hall was a door. Room 397.
It shouldn't be there. Not here. Not again. But it was.
I touched the handle, ice cold. The door creaked open like it had been waiting.
Inside was darkness.
Not regular darkness, the kind of dark that felt alive.
Like it could smell you.
And in the middle of that pitch black,
A chair, facing away. A figure sat there, breathing, slow, rhythmic. I took a step inside.
the door slammed behind me. I didn't turn around. The air was too thick now, too charged.
I spoke without knowing why.
What are you doing to me? The figure didn't move. But a voice, not mine, not entirely not mine, filled the room. You wrote this.
You made us real.
I shook my head.
No, I'm just a nurse.
You were, but you started to notice. And when you notice, you become... The figure stood, turned,
And it was me. Eyes black. Skin grey.
smiling,
Like it was proud of me.
like it had been waiting for this moment since the beginning.
Oh, you're not observing anymore, Clara, it said.
You're remembering.
I don't remember what happened next. Maybe I screamed. Maybe I ran.
Maybe I became her, the other me. But when I opened my eyes again, I was in bed. My own bed. The sun was rising. Birds chirped like nothing had happened.
Phone on the nightstand.
No missed calls, no messages.
No file named 3:17 a.m. I got up, dazed, and walked to the bathroom.
Everything felt cleaner, lighter, like that whole night had been a dream, stitched together from anxiety and leftover shift trauma. But when I looked in the mirror, there was a band on my wrist, a hospital ID. My name, Clara R. Room 397. Status, active observation. I blinked. The wristband vanished, but the name remained burned in my brain. For weeks I tried returning to the hospital. Glenwood, never heard of it, they'd say. I dug through old maps, news clippings, forums. Every time I got close, something would glitch. Pages wouldn't load. Addresses would shift.
One day I got a package. No return address.
Inside, a single Polaroid photo. It showed me, asleep in bed, mouth slightly open, taken from the corner of my room. Scrawled in black ink on the bottom. We're still charting your progress. Keep remembering.
That night I didn't sleep.
Because the call light in my apartment flickered on. But I don't have a call light.
Not here. Not anymore.
Or maybe not yet. So now I write,
And I wait. And I watch.
because I think someone somewhere is telling my story for me.
And I have to keep living it until they stop.
Oh, this has been Clara After Dark. If you've made it this far, I thank you for staying with me in the shadows. Don't forget to subscribe if you'd like more unsettling stories like this one.
Until next time.
Don't answer the call light if it blinks at 3:17 a.m.